Part 1. Play, die, and repeat. Play, die, and repeat is at the heart of the Spelunky games. And you may be wondering to yourself, don't all games involve play, die, and repeating? And the answer is no, not necessarily, because even in the difficult games such as Dark Souls, that has save points that stop you from going all the way back to the start when you die. Whereas in Spelunky, when you die, you don't return back alive with a sword in your hand, you return back alive with your hat, or whatever that is. Anyway, the point is that Spelunky is notoriously difficult, and if you haven't played it, I highly recommend you download it. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you can always get the sweet cash back from the Steam refund. But if you're on PlayStation or Xbox though, I'm sorry, but you're fucked. I digress. For those of you that aren't familiar with Spelunky, I'd wonder what cave you've been living in for the past 13 years, and if you've been spending too much time with this guy. He knows what you did last summer. Spelunky 2 came out in 2020, and yes, I said 13 years ago earlier because the original game came out in 2008, and Spelunky 2 was nominated for Best Independent Game last year, and it didn't win, but I thought it should have won. Anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Next, part 2. If the bat doesn't kill you, the stress will. Spelunky 2 is easily one of the most difficult games I've ever played, and it has a slow learning curve, meaning if you can't see what Spelunky spells without the E and the L, you've got no chance. In all seriousness though, what I meant by a slow learning curve is that it will take you a while to even just be good at the game, and that's primarily due to the fact that every time you die, you start back at the beginning. I mean, I'm pretty sure it took me about 2 to 3 months of consistent gameplay just to beat level 1 consistently. I'm not saying that that's going to be the same for all of you, but that was just my experience. Now I must be clear, this is not a review of Spelunky 2. I don't make reviews. I'm not here to try to persuade you either way if you want to buy it or not. I'm only here to bring light to an awesome game that I've played and enjoyed. So you can get killed by a bat, some kind of reptile ball, a snake, or a spider. And you might be thinking, that sounds terrible. Well, actually, Australia is quite a nice place. You should go there sometime. Book your tickets now before another lockdown happens. You never know. And if you get bitten by a venomous snake, just remember kids that in Spelunky, at least you get a second chance. Actually wait, how does that help them? Quick, go to an ad break.
The water in Majorca,
What's that?
don't taste like what it oughta. Gosh.
So anyways, when you play Spelunky, remember to stay calm. I wouldn't want to see you on the news about how you shut up at school. Part 3. The adventure awaits. Or does it? Spelunky 2 is all about the adventure, discovering new items, NPCs, and hidden locations you may find along the way. But unlike other games where they will give you tips and pretty much tell you how to play the game, Spelunky refuses to hold your hand and instead lets you make mistakes and discover the world of Spelunky by yourself. So if you end up falling thousands of meters to your death because you were too stupid and couldn't find a cape or a jetpack, don't blame the developers, okay kids? Instead blame your controller for moving too far to the left and ultimately killing you. Your controller is laughing at you. Are you gonna take that? Are you gonna teach it a lesson? Okay, that's a bit too far. Moving on. At the end of the day, you may find yourself dying over 1,000 times, killing the same spider and witch doctor over and over again, playing over 100 hours, but one thing you must always remember is that no matter how good at the game you become, it only takes one slip up to send you right back to the beginning. So you must be thinking, oh, I'll just never die in Spelunky then? And I'll say, Part 4. The evolution of monsters. Monsters, enemies, whatever the hell you call them, have always been crucial in most platform action games. All the way back to Mario where you had Bullet Bill, the Piranha Plant, and the ghosts in the mansions. They provided difficulty whilst trying to navigate from the beginning of the world to the end of it. All of them must be different from one another. Now the downside to them is that we players get used to the mechanics of these enemies, and so they become easier with time. This is why different enemies are added the further you get into the game. Now this is where Spelunky shines the most, because every time you encounter a new monster, you've gotten yourself to a new location in the game, and thus you really don't want to die because you don't want to be put right back to the beginning. And so now you don't know what that monster is capable of, and the majority of the time you will die. And that's what makes Spelunky so great, is that you have to pretty much master the level you're on before you can even try and get used to the monsters in the next level. So the way the game is structured really aids in its difficulty to get used to the monsters you encounter. Now some enemies are way more annoying than others. In my personal opinion, Spelunky's monsters are way more annoying than any other game I've ever played. Now let me end with some advice. Whenever you see a new monster, just assume you can kill it by stepping on its head. Oh, I forgot about that. Part 5. Buy it. Buy it, you punks. Nah, I'm just kidding. You can do what you want. I don't really care. Now, if you see a venomous snake in your cupboard one night, don't come complaining back to me when I said you should visit Australia. It's not my fault you couldn't hear my sarcasm. Maybe you should clean out your ears with the bones of that skeleton. Hey, seriously though, before I go, please donate to me via PayPal so I can visit Australia. I hear it's nice this time of year. Did you hear the sarcasm then? Bastards.